When I understood that you're celebrating pioneers, the pioneers of the community here at Stephen Wise, I thought of the Hebrew word pioneer. It's chalutz or chalutza. And I started to think of the different words in Hebrew that are a derivative of chalutz or chalutza. There is a unit in the army in Israel. It's called chilutz v'hatzalah. Chilutz v'hatzalah is the search and rescue unit of the army, which my eldest daughter was a part of for many, many years till she had her first child. She did a lot of reserve duty. They're highly skilled. They go out and they save people from earthquakes and from falling buildings and any other kind of dangerous situation. I also thought of the verb for kicking off your shoes. It's lachlotz et na'alaim. It's the same root. And I tried to figure out what is it that has, what's in common with this word. To be a pioneer, to kick off your shoes, to go out and save something, to free yourself from a situation. In the Tanakh, in the Bible, there is a Levirate law, which is called ibum v'chalitza. It's the same root. It's to free yourself from one situation so you can walk into another situation. And I think you need all those things to be a pioneer. You need to be able to know when to kick off your shoes and put up your feet and breathe, because being a pioneer takes a lot of strength, it takes a lot of vision, it takes a lot of effort, and it's nonstop. People who began something out of nothing have to have a very clear vision. You have to also have a lot of yozma in order to be a pioneer. Yozma, which is the name of my congregation, means initiative. You have to know how to take initiative in order to get things done. And I thought about all the things that you need to be a pioneer. You need creative thinking. You need te'uzah. Te'uzah is to dare to dream, to dare to go against the stream. You need to have patience. You need to have perseverance. You have to keep your eye on the target all the time. You have to be prepared to hit your head against a brick wall and keep hitting your head against a brick wall, but know that eventually you're going to knock out some of those bricks. Being a pioneer means to have a sense of humor, especially if you live in the state of Israel. If you do not have a sense of humor, you would never survive. All those things together is what makes us pioneers. My community is a really pioneering community. Stephen Wise is a pioneering community. Think about where you were and where you are today. Think about the way and what you had to do to get there. When I came to Modin, Modin is a brand new city. It's built on the remnants of an ancient city where the Hanukkah story took place. I look at the Maccabees and I say the Maccabim who led the battle for religious freedom, they had to have a lot of the same characteristics that pioneers have. There was nothing there. Nothing. But I had a dream. I had a dream that I wanted to build a reform community in Modin, a new city. The city began in 1996. It was designed by the great architect. He did the urban design of the city, Moshe Safdie, an Israeli, Canadian. He's done a lot of beautiful buildings. It's a city that's worth coming to visit because it's quite beautiful and it's quite unusual. The first urban planned city in the state of Israel. There are parks and there are gardens and there is an awareness of the environment, and it's a great place. Come and visit us. My dream was I wanted to make Reform Judaism indigenous to Israelis. I grew up here. I grew up in a place where the different streams of Judaism have a voice. All of them have a voice. In Israel, Israel is a place where Orthodoxy is known as the only legitimate, authentic voice of Judaism. To build a Reform congregation where nothing was there before, I didn't have to start from zero, I started from negative. Because I had to fight the stigma, and I had to fight the preconceived notions about what Reform Judaism is, and I had to fight the convincing battle that the Orthodox establishment in the country has pretty much brainwashed the entire Jewish community into thinking that the only real true voice of Judaism is orthodoxy. All that being said, I picked up and was on my way. We are celebrating our Chai anniversary, our 18th year. And how did I begin? I began with a preschool. One preschool class, which grew to 2 preschool classes the following year. And then the following year, we grew to 4 preschool classes. Out of those preschool classes, I found a treasurer, chairperson of the congregation, a person who could head the committee, all these people. I just went up to them very innocently, and I saw some guy who was working for the Bank of Israel, and I said, "Would you like to be our treasurer?" And he said, "Sure." 8 years later, he was still the treasurer. They had no idea what they were getting into, but they were partners in this pioneering spirit. Today, we have 6 preschool classes. We were the first recognized kindergarten in the state of Israel, recognized reform kindergarten in the state of Israel as part of the public school track. The parents and the families that have been involved in our preschools wanted to continue the education of their children, and for many years we tried to put together a day school, a Reform Jewish public day school. We are now graduating our 5th class. We were hosted in different schools for 8 years in 6 different places. You have to understand that parents schlep their children 1 year on one side of the city, the next year they go to the other side of the city, and then 2 years later in another part of the city. But they schlepped and they stuck it out with us, and we have one of the best educational systems, not just in the city of Modi'in, I would say in the country. I'm going to tell you another pioneering achievement that we had. We were the first non-Orthodox synagogue in the history of the state of Israel to get funding from the state to build our synagogue. It's a big deal. Granted, the synagogue's pretty tiny. We can hold 100 people comfortably, maybe 150 with a kvetch. But it was a historical precedent for 19 other congregations, non-Orthodox congregations, to build their synagogues in the state with state funding. It took us 11 years in the High Court of Justice to fight this battle. But that's what pioneers do. They keep their eye on the target, and they go forward, and they build, and they don't let all the obstacles that are before them to trip them up. And if you trip, then you pick yourself up, and you take the next step. We are a success story. I sometimes, when I come and I speak, and it's nice for me because I can step out of the day-to-day battles that I'm constantly fighting and look at where we were and where we've been. That's why to celebrate Shabbat in this special way for your founders, I think, is extraordinary, because it's really important for you to look at where you began and where you are today. It's an amazing place you have here. It took pioneers to get there. I don't think pioneers ever really kick off their shoes and put their feet up, but I do think that they keep dreaming. We're dreaming still. Our parents want to have a middle school. They want to have a high school. I would like to see a daycare center from ages of 0 through 3, because our preschools start at 3 and then go on. I think it would also give us a little more financial independence as a community. I think that you can't stop dreaming. One day we'll even have a home for senior citizens. Come to Modi'in and feel Reform Judaism that is authentic. It's an authentic voice in Modi'in. It is a voice that is not marginal, like a lot of Reform Judaism across the country. We've done it, and I'd like to invite all the pioneers here to come and be with us. Shabbat Shalom.